Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. Rochelle, when you're ready, if you can please call roll.
Sure. Keith Beal is absent. Stephen Cohen.
Here.
Linda Perdeau.
Here.
Annette Gray.
Here.
Adam Nelson.
Here.
Jose Alvarez.
Here.
Dana Adler.
Here. Thank you. And the next item is the approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
You can't make a motion,
Wait.
but I can.
Please.
You'd like to
Go
have one?
ahead.
Motion to
Make a
approve the
motion.
agenda.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, and
Chair, we just need the roll call from Michelle.
okay, and roll call, please.
Keith Beal is absent. Stephen Cohen.
Yes.
Linda Perdeau.
Yes.
Annette Gray.
Yes.
Adam Nelson.
Yes.
Jose Alvarez.
Yes.
Dana Adler.
Yes. Thank you, Michelle. There are no meeting minutes for this month. And at this point, we swear anybody who will be speaking before the board on any matter regarding public comments or on any agenda item, please rise and be prepared to be sworn in. Thanks, Rochelle.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, if there's anyone from the public who wishes to speak on any item that's not on the agenda that is in the purview of the Site Plan Review and Appearance Board, we would welcome your appearance. Seeing and hearing none, I'd like to just touch on a few things. If you're going to be presenting tonight, please go to the podium on my left. Staff will present from the table in front of us. There's no consent agenda today. So now I'm going to just read the quasi-judicial rules. This hearing shall be conducted in accordance with the City of Delray Beach quasi-judicial rules. The applicant and the city shall be permitted to present their case. The public shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes each, or a maximum of 6 minutes if the person represents an organization or a group of people who are present but agree not to speak. The city commission, board members, staff, and the applicant may be allowed to cross-examine a witness. The city or applicant will be allowed to offer rebuttal testimony. The decision to approve or deny an application or appeal may not legally be made upon personal views as to whether a project is a good project or not, nor may a decision be based on the number of citizens who support or oppose a particular project. The law requires that all decisions must be made on the basis of whether the project meets the requirements of law, the comprehensive plan, and the land development regulations. Okay. So, Mr. Godonic, if you could please enter the item into the record.
Good evening, board members. Julian Godanic, Senior Planner.
Oh, hold on 1 second before we do that. Mr. Alvarez, can you just come back briefly? So yes, it's my understanding that you have a conflict on this item. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, can you just briefly state what the conflict is?
We are the landscape architect of record on the project.
Okay, landscape architect of record, great. And if you haven't done so already, Rochelle has a form that needs to be filled out. So you're, please just, if you go to the ante room there is fine, but just close the door, please. Thank you.
I'd like to enter into the record at this time file number 2022-151. It is a previously classified, now referred to as a level 3 site plan application for an 8-unit townhouse development, as well as approval of the landscape plan and architectural elevations and a landscape waiver. And at this time, I will turn it over to the applicant's agent, Jeffrey Silverstein.
And is there any ex parte communication on this item?
No.
All right, there was a note sent via email from Mr. Silverstein. I don't know if anybody responded to that. I've already seen the
I didn't
project when it
get
was
one.
previously applied, so I didn't, but
I looked at it, yes.
you looked at the email?
Yep.
Okay, but you didn't respond though? Okay, all right. All right. Floor is yours.
Good evening. I'm Jeffrey Silverstein. I'm an architect. I work and live in Delray Beach. Some of you may not know who I am and what I have accomplished in my 43 years as an architect. I graduated from Pratt Institute, one of the top 10 accredited architectural schools in the country. Upon graduation, I received the Henry Adams Medal and Certificate of Merit and the Medal for Academic Excellence from the American Institute of Architects. Each year, both of these medals are given to the top-ranking graduating students in each architecture program accredited by the National Architectural Accrediting Board. The Adams Medal is awarded to the second-ranking graduate student, and the AIA Medal of Excellence is awarded to the top graduating student. It does not often happen that a graduate receives both. I have designed office buildings, schools like the College of Education at FAU, museums like the Murakami Museum, art galleries, warehouses, courthouses, multifamily projects, and single-family homes. Many of these projects were recognized by the American Institute of Architects for Excellence in Design, totaling 23 awards. The design, as presented, I had to come back because the board felt I should present like renderings so they can get a better idea of what the building looks like. I think it does depict the project, and the project meets the LDRs. I believe that this project will become an architectural asset to our city. There is one slide that you would probably want to see, which is the artwork, which is kind of like the idea I have. Is it on the... This is close up to the artwork and civic area. And this is the rear where the pools are and the back porches and the courtyard.
Control.
I think if you hold down Control, Julian, it'll create the...
So this is...
Show your daughter how much you love her with this beautiful gift.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is kind of like what I have an idea when you asked me about what kind of art I thought we should have in the front, and I thought it should be something interactive. And so this is kind of like something that I'd like to pursue as the artwork for the civic space. Okay, I guess we had enough. And that's my presentation.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Godonic.
Chair, I just also want to remind the board that the artwork itself is not part of the board's purview. That would be something that would go to the art advisory board. So its location, how that functions with the site, you know, those things might be within the purview, but the actual art or what it will be itself will be is governed by that board.
Okay, hello again, board members. Julian Godanic, Senior Planner. Before you at this time is the Level 3 site plan application for 354 Southeast 5th Avenue. To most of you, you'd be familiar with this project. You've already heard this item at a previous board meeting, given direction to the applicant. The applicant is now back before you with material that they believe addresses your previous direction. And I'm just going to go into the specifics real quick for a refresher and for our board member who has not yet heard this project. So, location is on Southeast 5th Avenue, 354 Southeast 5th Avenue. It's currently a vacant lot. The land use designation is commercial core, and the zoning district is CBD, Central Business District, Central Core Sub-District. These are the surrounding properties for some context. To the east, across from 5th Ave, you have the Mallory Square townhouses, I believe it's called, and then you have the sort of low-scale, originally single-family home. I believe it's now a commercial use to the south of this property, and then to the north is a vacant lot that has a site plan approval for a 4-story mixed-use development on that site, which is here before you, if you recall that project that was recently approved. This is the subject property, looking kind of to the northwest. And then before you, again, is the Class 5 for 8 townhouses. site plan, landscape plan, and architectural elevations, as well as a landscape waiver. These are the previous renderings. I chose to sort of leave the previous ones and then intermix the new ones so that you can kind of see the comparison and you know, evaluate if you feel the applicant has addressed your concerns with the visuals. Again, some background. Subject property consists of 4 originally platted lots. They're unified under the same deed, all of which currently sit vacant. SPRAB considered previous waiver requests for the subject property, and then those waiver requests no longer are being pursued. Those were CBD waiver requests. There is a remaining waiver that is a landscape code waiver that is still up for consideration, but the 3 waivers where, and I believe SPRAB recommended denial of all those waivers, have been removed from the project, and the scope has been modified to no longer rely on that relief. And again, this was held before you at the 823 SPRAB meeting. You gave specific direction for better quality visuals that represented the project more clearly, and the applicant has updated the renderings to hopefully do that. So looking at the site plan, again, it's 8 townhouses. It's groups of 3, then 2 central townhouses that are further recessed where the civic open space is at the central portion of the site, and then 3 as well to the south. They generally reflect the same floor plan, with a sort of living area that leads to a interior courtyard and then the garage at the rear. The garage and all vehicle access is off of the alley, which is preferred design because it allows the Fifth Avenue streetscape to be, you know, reserved exclusively for pedestrian accessibility, which helps reinforce the public realm and just makes it a more pleasant pedestrian experience. There's also street trees that line Fifth Avenue to further reinforce the quality of the pedestrian experience. Some more data. It's, again, 8 units. They are 3 stories in height. Overall, the density proposed is 17 dwelling units per acre, which is well below the maximum threshold. They could go up to 30 dwelling units per acre, so it's about half as dense as it could be. Each unit has a pool above the garage. And then again, I spoke to the vehicle access as well as trash pickup occurring from the alley, which is, again, where we would prefer to see it. So zooming in on the civic open space at the sort of front and center portion of the site, the applicant's shown their intended vision. Again, that is subject to approval of the Public Arts Advisory Board. But in general, there's two stoop entrances of units 4 and 5 that frame the edge of the civic space. There's landscaping, there's the public art feature, and then there's some other amenities and street furniture like benches, bike racks, etc. Provided within this area. It does meet the minimum requirement for the civic open space per CBD code. Again, this is just looking at it in a bit more detail blown up. You can see the elements that are proposed. And then this gives sort of a side perspective of the streetscape and how the building integrates with that public realm. Each unit has a raised porch, which projects 8 feet into the main front setback, which is the maximum allowed. The porch has an elevated wall. There's ground planting in front of that. And then there is sort of these vertical columns that extend the full vertical length of the building upwards of the 3 stories that frame the porch. This is showing it in the updated renderings. They're providing their minimum streetscape requirements. They have their curb zone where the street trees and landscaping are provided that exceeds the minimum. They are providing an 8-foot pedestrian clear zone, which exceeds the minimum, and then the remaining front setback is programmed with a combination of that porch encroachment as well as ground foundation landscaping and then bicycle racks at the south edge. This is the overall landscape plan. Again, it's well landscaped, shade coverage, not just in the Fifth Avenue frontage, but shade trees are provided in the rear as well, which helps with urban heat islands and providing shade cover adjacent to the alley. There's ground landscaping both in front of the unit entrances as well as in the rear adjacent to the driveways. Specifically regarding the waiver, code requires that adjacent to vehicular use area or in between vehicular use area and adjacent property lines, there is a landscape strip of a minimum of 5 feet with a hedge of at least 2 feet in height. Because of the room available, the applicant is not able to accommodate the full 5 feet. They're proposing 3 feet and 7 inches, but within that space, they are still providing the required ground cover at 2 feet in height plus shade trees. So while the physical space is less than is required, they are still providing the landscaping stuff, for lack of a better word, that is supposed to go into that space. Moving on to the design, it's a masonry modern architectural style. It is a sort of unique and interesting interpretation of that. It's a bit different than some of the masonry modern that we see, which is appreciated, that it's taken in a bit of a different direction. There's lots of glass coverage on the facade. Materials include smooth stucco as well as a teak finished wood accent. It's very vertically proportioned, and it preserves the sense of feeling carved out of a single mass, which is an important aspect of the masonry modern architectural style. So just some other perspectives, and reiterates what I just said. And then these are the black and white elevations, so for reference. So your required findings, for architectural elevations, it's 4618. The requirements were detailed in the staff report. You have, for site plan action, consistency with 311, which is consistency with the land use map, concurrency with the comprehensive plan, concurrency with the comprehensive plan, concurrency evaluations with respect to trash, drainage, schools, parks, etc. They will be required to provide to pay all applicable impact fees, including 500 per unit for parks, and then compliance with the LDRs. Again, all of that is further detailed in the staff report. SPRAB has the authority to approve landscape waivers, so it does not require approval of the City Commission. You can approve that with your site plan action. And this is your board options moving forward. You can move approval, you can move approval as amended, you can move denial, or you can move to continue with direction again, if you so choose. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? All right, seeing and hearing none. Mr. Silverstein, do you have any rebuttal from Mr. Godonic's presentation?
No, I think Julian did a great job.
Okay, any further comments or rebuttal?
None from me.
Okay. All right, so now we're at board comment. So Ms. Pardo, if you'd like to begin, please.
First of all, thank you for coming back with and listening to what we suggested. I just need a clarification on this rendering. It, to me anyway, looks like it's a different landscape than the plans as far as the number of trees in the front. Is that just...
So typically we don't refer to renderings for a like-for-like example of what the landscape plans actually show. Usually it's just illustrative purposes. So what is on the landscape plan is what they would be required to do.
That's what we're voting on, is the
Correct. The
landscape.
rendering is just a visual
Just-
aid, but you're not approving
Okay. All right, thank you.
the landscaping on the rendering.
Okay. No, I think it's an improvement, and yeah.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cohen.
No, I don't have any comments. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful project. So.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gray.
No comments.
All right. And
Yeah, I also have
Mr.
no
Nelson.
no comments other than good luck with the art installation. I think that was cool. Thanks.
all right, I agree. Thank you so much for coming back,
Welcome.
and we appreciate your talent and working in Delray and the improvements to the city as we develop it. So I have no further comments. It should be a great project.
Thank you.
All right, so now we can make. If someone can please make a motion.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see here. All right. Move to approve the requested Level 3 Site Plan Application 2022-151, including site plan, architectural elevations, landscape plan, and landscape waiver for the property located at 354 Southeast 5th Avenue by finding that the request meets the criteria in the LDR and is consistent with the comprehensive plan.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. That's Mr. Nelson. And Rochelle, when you're ready, if you can please call roll.
Sure. Keith Beal is absent. Stephen Cohen?
Yes.
Linda Perdeau?
Yes.
Annette Gray?
No.
Adam Nelson?
Yes.
Jose Alvarez stepped down. Dana Adler?
Yes. Okay, congratulations, you've been approved.
Thank you. Thank you. This, just so you know, this is going to be the last time I will be here. I
Oh.
will no longer be doing projects of this size.
Oh, wow.
I'm cutting down my workload. I'm traveling more, enjoying my grandchildren. So it's been a pleasure.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so that was the only applicant, so I believe now, Mr. Ibrahim,
Yes.
have staff reports and comments, please.
So, good evening, board members. My name is Rafiq Ibrahim. I'm principal planner. I'm also the board liaison. So, we have a presentation on the new amendment that passed October 17th. It includes actually 3 ordinances. I don't know why we don't see it on the screen.
I can help you.
So, so what did we do? Okay.
Yeah, if you
Sure. Thank you. So these are 3 ordinances. Ordinance number 3123, which is actually including the restructuring of Chapter 2 entirely, and Ordinance 3223, making the amendments to Chapter 4 to be consistent with the language of the new Chapter 2. Accordingly, also Ordinance 3323, Chapter 3 to 6 in front of you. The binder include 3 things. One is the 2024 meeting, SPRAB meeting schedule. And second is the relevant pages from ordinance of Chapter 2, 3223 that are relevant to 4413, the CBD, with highlights to exactly what was changed. And the third part is section 4413, because it's not available yet in Municode, so you really need to follow the ordinance until it is transferred into Municode. So we provided both the old language and the changes regarding the CBD only. So, okay. So this is direct extract from the language in Chapter 2. The purpose of the site plan and review and appearance board, SPRAB, is to promote certain functional and aesthetic goals, objectives, and policies as set forth in the adopted comprehensive plan. The SPRAB can make actions with a majority vote of quorum is required to pass any motion. A tie vote is considered that will be deemed to have denied. The board has the authority to take actions on the following items pursuant to the procedure and standards of the LDR, except where authority is granted to the Historic Preservation Board. Level 1 and 2, and I will explain the levels later in the presentation. So level 1 and 2 site plan application when associated with one of the following, 1, 2, and 3. 1 is a waiver that do not require city commission action. 2 is a reduction in the number of parking spaces required for specific uses pursuant to section 469 F1. 3 waivers to section 4616 landscape regulations. So any 1 or 2 or 3 waiver or reduction or a waiver associated with the level 1 and 2 will come before the board for action. Second is the master sign program, and any sign that does not meet the minimum requirement of section 467 signs and require relief. Third is appeal of an administrative interpretation or decision associated with one of the following. 4 items, which is appeal associated with section 467 signs appeal associated with 4616 landscape regulations, and any appeal associated with level 1 and 2 site plan applications. Lastly, the appeals to adopted design guidelines in section 2 of the Beach Property Owners Design Manual for the North Beach and Seagate neighborhoods as set forth in section 4513, and appeals to adopted design guidelines of the Central Business District Architectural Design Guidelines. All decisions of SPRAB may be appealed to the City Commission pursuant to the procedure of Chapter 2. So it's all actions is different than the previous Chapter 2, and we'll go through the, the previously, yes, please,
Go
ahead.
back once, a couple slides if you can. Okay, so today is an example of section 2, number 2, section 4616.
No,
Because it was a level 3.
yeah, so
Okay.
the decision was made, any application that had already been seen by a board, it would stay with that board. So that application remained with SPRAB because it was a continued hearing.
But but so they don't have to be level 1 and level 2 if their section, if it has to do with signs and landscape regulations.
Yes, sign and landscape regulations will come before the board. So any appeal to landscape regulation
But today
or a
would've-
sign.
I think it was a landscape regulation, right? Was
No, today actually was a level 3 based
Yeah.
on the new code. So naturally, if this application is a new application, will not be in front of you
So
today.
wasn't
It will be like a
46,
PZB.
16? It was an
Appeal
example.
to 4616 landscape regulations, yes.
Okay,
Associated with level 1 and 2 only.
that's what it says.
So
Oh,
focus on the subsection
level.
C part. So it's an appeal of an administrative interpretation regarding those sections.
okay.
So if Ms. Giannotis, as the Director of Development Services, made a decision that we interpret the landscape regulation to require you to do X or Y or Z, and the applicant disagrees with that interpretation, then they would appeal that analysis of that section of the land development regulations.
In a form of a waiver, or like just?
It could be anything.
Just an appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, if there's any interpretation.
Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure. So it has to be level 1 or level 2. So level 3 is totally filtered out.
I'm coming to the
It's a little
levels
confusing.
so that you don't be confused. So we'll do it. Just let's do the levels and then we come back to
It
the
might be
question.
answered in a later slide, I
Yes.
think, is what.
All right.
Yes, and we'll come back to this slide. So the levels, these are like the 5 classes that we had before, and we know it. Now the levels, there are 4 levels now, no more classes. So level 1 is an application that meet all LDR, all land development regulations, it meets. And no building area increase. It could be landscape, hardscape, architectural elevations, material and color. So there are no added built up area, and it meets the regulations. So level 1 is eligible for administrative approval by staff. Level 2, also an application that meets all the regulations, but it has a threshold of 5 units or more if it's residential, or less than 15,000 square feet of mixed use or non-residential development. This level 2 also is eligible for administrative approval. Level 2 will have to go into the City Commission appealable report. Any appeal to level 1 and 2 has to come to SPRAB. So if staff made a decision, deny, for example, an application that is a level 1 and 2, now the applicant can appeal to SPRAB board without any associated landscape or parking, just the appeal. So the applicant can appeal staff decisions in front of the board.
And if the applicant doesn't agree with our decision, they can still appeal it with the commission.
I would say probably yes. I just want to read the new chapter 2 to make sure the language is the same.
All actions by SPRAB are appealable to City Commission.
Generally speaking, I think the appeal provision says any action that would otherwise be final can be appealed to City Commission. So it's language similar to that. So if SPRAB were to deny it as well, I think that would be an action that, if not appealed, would otherwise be final and would be subject to appeal to City Commission.
Correct. So level 3 and 4. Level 3 has a higher threshold, which is more than 5 units or more than 15,000 square feet of mixed use or non-residential development. Now, level 4 is normally level 2 or 3 application, but associated with one of the 3 listed items here: height or density increase related to workforce housing incentives, CBD incentive program regarding workforce housing incentive, conditional use request, or any waiver that is not authorized to any other board. So that means it's a level 4, it will go directly to the City Commission. So we will only back again to the level, so we will only see level 1 and 2 applications if associated with a waiver that do not require City Commission, or associated with a reduction number of parking, or associated with 4616 landscape regulations. And master sign programs, appeal of an administrative interpretation or decision regarding the signs, landscape, and level 1 and 2, and appeals to adopted design guidelines, the North Beach and Seagate neighborhoods, and Central Business District architectural design guidelines. And this will conclude the presentation. I'm here for any question, and feel free to contact me by email, by phone with any question, and if I cannot answer, I will discuss with the management of development service and provide you with the right answer. Thank you.
Any updates on any projects?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bennett.
Just real quick, what's the next
The next meeting, the next SPRAB meeting is on January 24th, and the February one is February 28th.
The meetings are in the front of our binder.
Yes. So we have the whole 2024 year, correct?
Nothing else, Chair.
All right, I guess this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Joined.
Adjourned. Gracias. Thank you.